Hi guys, welcome back. Thank you so much for being here. So greatly appreciated. Truly is. Before we start, let me give you my usual disclaimer that this video is for educational purposes only. Please do not take what I say as fact. Please always do your own research and come to your own conclusions. Next, if you have not liked, subscribed, or commented yet, please consider doing so. It really helps me out and I'd really appreciate it. Okay, and with that, let's get started. Brittney Griner was born on October 19th, 1990 in Houston, Texas, to parents Raymond and Sandra Griner. Her father was a Harris County Sheriff's officer and a Marine who served in the Vietnam War from 1968 to 1969. Griner attended Nimitz High School in Houston. In addition to lettering in basketball throughout high school, she played varsity volleyball as a freshman, practiced with boys basketball team as a sophomore, and had a YouTube video of her learning to dunk that was viewed more than 6 million times while in her junior year. This led to a meeting with her and Shaquille O'Neal. During her senior year of high school, Brittney led her team to the Texas Girls Basketball State Championship. And although they lost 52-43, Brittney dunked 52 times in 32 games. She played college basketball at Baylor University in Waco, Texas, and set the single-season record as one of the greatest shot blockers in women's basketball history. On April 3rd, 2012, Griner led Baylor with 26 points, 13 rebounds, and 5 blocked shots to win the Division I Women's Basketball Championship. After her win, Brittney decided to withdraw her candidacy for a roster spot on the 2012 U.S. Olympic women's basketball team. In 2013, Brittney came out as a lesbian. She also revealed that she was bullied as a child. She has become very passionate about bringing attention to childhood bullying. She also revealed in an interview that when she came out to her parents, they were not receptive towards it and actually sent her away to live with an assistant coach for 6 weeks. She played the 2013-2014 off-season in China, where she signed a 4-month contract for $600,000. June 29th, 2014, Griner set the WNBA record with 11 blocks in a regular season game win. On August 14th, 2014, Griner got engaged to a fellow WNBA player, Glory Johnson. August 24th, 2014, she became the first WNBA player to dunk in a playoff game. April 22nd, 2015, both Brittney and Glory were arrested on charges of assault and disorderly conduct after police responded to a fight between the two in their Phoenix, Arizona home. May 8th, 2015. Despite the charges, just 1 month prior, the two decided to get married in Phoenix. May 15th, 2015. The WNBA suspended Griner and Johnson for 6 weeks because of the arrests. Griner pled guilty and was ordered to complete 26 weeks of DV counseling. June 4th, 2015, Griner and Johnson revealed that Johnson was pregnant with twins that they conceived via surrogate. The following day, after less than a month of marriage, Griner filed for an annulment of their marriage, citing fraud and duress. The courts denied Brittney's request. October 12th, 2015, Johnson gave birth to twin girls 16 weeks prematurely. Griner was ordered to pay child support for these babies. June 2016, Brittney and Glory Johnson's divorce is finalized. In August of 2018, Brittney gets engaged to a woman named Sherelle Watson. June 2019, Brittney and Sherelle wed, and Sherelle changes her name to Sherelle Griner. February 17th, 2022, Brittney Griner is arrested on drug charges in Sheremetyevo International Airport in Russia. Federal security agencies found vaporizer cartridges containing hash oil inside of her bag. Although she was prescribed the medical marijuana in Arizona, it is illegal in Russia. Her arrest is specifically troubling not only because she's a high-profile American athlete, but more importantly because she is a LGBTQ plus Black woman. Along with this, in 2020, Russian President Vladimir Putin declared that he would never legalize same-sex marriage in his country. March 6, 2022. U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken said at a press conference that whenever an American is detained anywhere in the world, we of course stand ready to provide every possible assistance, and that includes Russia. In April of 2022, the Biden administration announced that Trevor Reed, a U.S. Marine veteran who has been detained in Russia since 2019, had been released as part of a prisoner swap between Russia and the United States. In June of 2022, a spokesperson for the Kremlin, which is the symbol of both Russia and, for a time, Soviet power and authority, denied that Griner was being held hostage or being used as a political pawn, saying that she's no different from hundreds and hundreds of Russian citizens that were sentenced for carrying hashish. Adding, why should we make exceptions for a foreign citizen? From February to June, Griner's detention was extended multiple times. In June of 2022, dozens of organizations representing women, people of color, and LGBTQ plus sent a letter to the Biden administration urging it to negotiate a deal for Griner's release, stating that she's enduring inhumane treatment and being deprived of contact with her family. That sucks. Don't bring illegal drugs into a country.
It's heavy. It's just heavy, y'all. I mean, y'all asking if these questions don't really take away from our trauma. You just add to our trauma so we can keep here. We can break down and cry in front of y'all so you can see how we feel. Like, what else I don't know what else to really say about it. It's our sister. This is not some random Jane off the street. It's not anything we're politicizing. It's a human being, and this is our real life friend and real life sister. So imagine if your real life friend or real life sister is out here. And I don't expect everybody to give a damn, but we really do. If we come out here and we're still supposed to play this game, nobody wanted to even play today. How are you supposed to approach the game, approach the court and with a clear mind, and the whole group is crying before the game? Because you try to honor her and you try to come out and still play hard for her. And you know, regardless if she here or not, right now, we still gotta try to keep her spirit alive, to honor her spirit, and to try to get some momentum for the team, something to feed off of.
June 27, 2022. Griner's lawyer made a statement that she had no complaints about her detention conditions. July 7, 2022. During Griner's court appearance, she admitted that she brought the cannabis into Russia, but instead she never meant to break the law. She goes on to ask the courts to allow her to testify later so she has time to prepare. Experts in Russian law believe that admitting guilt is the best way to secure a lesser sentence, and it is also a prerequisite for a potential prisoner exchange. July 4th, 2022. Brittney Griner's family deliver a handwritten letter from Griner to President Joe Biden. The letter says in part, "As I sit here in a Russian prison, alone with my thoughts and without the protection of my wife, family, friends, Olympic jersey, or any accomplishments, I'm terrified I might be here forever." It goes on to say, "I realize you're dealing with so much, but please don't forget me and the other American detainees. Please do all you can to bring us home." The White House confirmed that Biden did indeed receive the letter, saying that this issue is very personal to him, stressed that the government continues to work aggressively for Griner's release, and that the president's team was in contact with Griner's family, but that whatever relationship they had seems to be devolving. July 5th, 2022. Brittney Griner's wife, Sherelle, told CBS that while she doesn't know exactly why her wife decided to write Biden a letter, She suspects that it's because of his failure to meet with her family directly. Going on to say that Brittney would frequently ask her if she was able to meet with Biden directly, adding that she's terrified for her wife and her mental health, seeing photos of her during her first court appearance.
Yeah, why did she decide, Sherelle, to write to the president directly?
Because I haven't been able to speak to her, real time, I don't necessarily know, but I know my wife really well. So I feel confident in saying that I think the decision for her to feel the need to directly reach out to President Biden is because of the failed attempts that we have had as a family. She's there and she knows that we are doing everything that we can in our own strength to, ask to meet with the president and to, request that, they do everything they can to get her home. And it kills me every time that, when I have to write her and she's asking, have you met with him yet? And, I have to say no. And she's like, you know what? I'm sure she's like, I'm going to write him and ask now because, my family has tried and to no avail. So I'm going to do it myself.
And when you read the charges, it says she's been charged with large-scale transportation, an offense that could carry a sentence of up to 10 years behind bars. When you heard that that's what she was charged with, what did you think when you heard that, knowing her the way that you do?
It blew my mind because I'm like, large scale. I mean, I live with BG every day, so I'm like, there's no way possible. So I knew it wasn't true the minute that I heard the charge because I know my wife. I'm like, no. And so it just is very unfortunate, that she's in this position because BG does not large scale do anything in traffic. And so it was just very, very disheartening to hear that charge.
Yeah, there was one video, Sherelle, that I found very jarring. It seemed like Brittney was either very afraid or had been startled. And I'm wondering when you saw the picture too, that's the picture. That's the picture I was thinking of, guys. When you saw that, what did you think? What is happening here?
You must be referring to when she went to court on Monday, that picture?
And her eyes are sort of bugged out, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. It terrified me. I'm like, what is happening to my wife? Like, just the humanity element of it. And I honestly wrote her and I'm like, hey, honey, I saw a picture of you and I know there's a such thing as propaganda. I'm like, but I have to ask. I'm inclined to ask. I'm like, are you okay? Are you insane at this point? And, I told her, I said, understand that if you are, I still love you. And that when you come back, we will love you back whole. Show yourself grace. I was like, but, if you're not, insane, I said, could you please, help my conscience and, kind of just tell me, some more context about the picture. And that's when she told me, she said, I am weak right now, she said, and I was very weak at that moment, but she was like, I promise I'm not insane, not yet, she said, but I was startled because I turned the corner and it was like hundreds of media just sitting there with cameras and things waiting. And so she was shocked.
How often do you get to talk to her or communicate with her? Because I know you haven't physically talked to her, right?
Correct. I have not physically talked to her. I had the chance about 4.5 months in. We finally got a phone call approved, and unfortunately, our government, made a mistake in not answering her phone calls, and so I haven't been able to talk to her yet. And the letters, I mean, they may be consistent as in I'll hear something, every week. And, sometimes I may not. I think at one point it was a whole month before I received one letter from her. Yeah. And when I did get them, they were backdated.
Yeah, it's very difficult to hear this conversation. Has there been a change in strategy on how you all are pushing the government for her release? Are there calculations that you make yourself about what to say and how to say? What is that? What is your thinking?
So that's a good question. So everything about this is a calculation for me because I have to walk the fine line of, harm versus help when it comes to my wife right now. So as much as I want to, advocate for her and push for, our government to do everything, I also have to take into account that she's in a position where she could be harmed also. By any and everything I do. And so it's a thin line to walk. And initially, I was told, just we're going to try and reserve, we're going to try and handle this behind scenes and, let's not raise her value and, stay quiet. And, I did that. And respectfully, we're over 140 days at this point. That does not work. And so I will not be quiet anymore. I will find that balance of, harm versus help in pushing our government to do everything that's possible, because being quiet, they are not moving. They are not doing anything. And so my wife is struggling and we have to help her.
According to a statement released by the White House, Brittney's wife Sherelle spoke on the phone with Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris in early July. Biden reportedly assured her that he is working to secure Griner's freedom and even read her a draft of a letter he had intended on sending to her. During Griner's court appearances, a letter was presented from a U.S. doctor who previously recommended that Brittney use medical cannabis to treat her chronic pain. But it's unclear if this will help her case because all use of cannabis is illegal in Russia. Another doctor testified on Brittney's behalf was a UMMC team doctor who testified that Brittney has never tested positive while she was playing for the Russian club team. July 2022. Brittney Griner testified that she was not read her rights when she was taken into custody at the Moscow airport in February. She went on to say that a translator who was present at the airport told her where to go but did not explain what was happening to her. She also says that officials made her sign documents without telling her what they meant. Going on to tell the court that her passport and phone were confiscated. She was forbidden from seeing her lawyers until the following morning, saying that it made her feel like she was being held against her will. That's probably because she was. Just saying. Brittney says that the translator that was provided to her during the Russian investigation was lacking, saying, quote, "I remember one time there was a stack of papers that the translator needed to translate for me. He took a brief look and then said the exact words were basically, 'You are guilty.'" End quote. Griner says she knew that she was not allowed to carry the cartridges through the airport and again emphasized that she packed them accidentally, saying, "I had no intention of breaking the law." I don't think that matters. Still got to pay the price.
My parents taught me two important things. One, take ownership for your responsibilities, and two, to work hard for everything that you have. That's why I pled guilty to my charges. I understand everything that's being said against me, the charges that are against me, and that is why I pled guilty. But I had no intent to break any Russian law. I want to apologize to my teammates, my club, Gemka, the fans, and the city of ECAT for my mistake that I made and the embarrassment that I brought onto them. I made an honest mistake, and I hope that in your ruling that it doesn't end my life here. I know everybody keeps talking about political pawn and politics, but I hope that that is far from this courtroom.
At a news conference that same week, Secretary of State Antony Blinken announced that the United States had proposed trading an imprisoned Russian arms dealer, Victor Bout, in exchange for the release of Brittney Griner and Paul Whelan, another U.S. detainee that is in Russia. The substantial proposal is said to be backed by President Biden and put forward in June. The U.S. and Russia have communicated repeatedly and direct about it since. August 4th, 2022, Brittney Griner was found guilty and sentenced to 9 years in prison and $16,000 fine for attempting to smuggle the cannabis into the country. Griner's freedom is now contingent on diplomatic negotiations between the U.S. and Russia, namely a potential prisoner swap. And a lot of people are not happy about this. Brittney's legal team calls the verdict absolutely unreasonable and plans to appeal. In a joint statement, the WNBA and the NBA commissioners called the verdict unjustified and unfortunate, but not unexpected, stressing their mutual commitment to bring her home safely. President Biden also released a statement calling Griner's verdict unacceptable and calling on Russia to release her immediately so she can be here with her wife, loved ones, friends, and teammates.
Judge actually read the sentence, the maximum sentence, the one the prosecutors asked for, 9 years in a penal colony.
Final verdict is 9 years of imprisonment of the 9 million rubles penalty in the penal colony. And she will serve her term from the day of the announcement of this verdict. And time when she was behind bars from the 18th of February 2022 will be included in the overall term.
Jill Dougherty, a former CNN Moscow bureau chief, is back with us. Just watching that is, it's heart-wrenching, and thinking about all of the factors in play here, not the least of which is she's 31 years old. She is somebody who is quite literally at the top of her game in the WNBA. And now she is, according to that translation, immediately going to go to a penal colony. I know we're going to talk in a moment about the potential for a prison swap, but since she's going right now, can you explain to our viewers here around the world, what does that mean? What does a Russian penal colony look like and entail?
It depends on which one. There will be work to be done. Now, it could be harsh work, kind of labor, or it could be making things kind of like, sewing uniforms and things like that. We'll have to see exactly where she will be going. But this is really, really sobering. But this is kind of what was expected because of the way that the Russian law is set up, and the fact that very few people are ever exonerated, and the fact that they said, the guilty verdict was with criminal intent. So the judge is really, pushing minor, like 6 months off because of a few extenuating circumstances. But this is really, really tough. And now, there are two possibilities. Obviously, they're going to appeal this, but it's really now up to Vladimir Putin, because the United States has made it very clear that it wants Brittney Griner out. And President Biden has made that very clear by the actions that he's taken and the State Department.
So, after doing all the research for this story, I ended up down the Twitter rabbit hole of opinions regarding the situation. Oh my Lord, do they go from one extreme to another? The internet is filled with opinions. So, I decided that I would share some of them with you. The ones that I found the most interesting and or was the most taken back by. And then I would share my opinion with you guys. And hopefully you guys will respectfully share your opinions in the comment section down below, regardless if you agree with me or not. Okay, she broke the law in a different country. A country in the middle of a war with our country is funding their enemy. What did you expect? Her hatred for America does make those people spread that hate. You can't be that out of touch to understand that. When did she say she hated America? She hates America, and now she wants us to bring her home. Russia can keep her. How about you love the country you are that gives you all the freedoms you enjoy? She doesn't. Haha, Breonna Turner, why don't you go join her? She's right where she belongs for the next 9 years. I might add, Don't worry, it'll go by in the blink of 9 years. Bet she's thinking twice now about hating this country. Zero sympathy for her. Respectfully, go fuck yourselves. That's pretty much your choice for the next 9 years. I guess America looks pretty good right about now to this idiot who hates America and refused to stand for our national anthem. Brittney Griner is a criminal, and we are supposed to trade her for a terrorist more dangerous than bin Laden. You men are the idiots and don't understand things. Black America for you. Compassion for America-hating leftist. She lost me a long time ago. You only care because she's a leftist. If she was a conservative black woman, you'd be calling her all sorts of nasty shit. The people who hang out with says a lot about you. That means you are as big of a moron and would try to bring drugs into a foreign country. Throw in your hate, USA, and well, then you are trash as well. I'm so angry this is happening to Griner and her family. I'm in the middle of writing an email to the president right. Free Griner now, and her American cellmates. I want to know what this comment section would look like if this was Tom Brady or some Manning. Neither one of them would be stupid enough to take into another country. It's crazy how she thinks she could just hear from the White House simply because she sent a letter. It must be nice to walk around feeling that entitled. The lesson here is, if you find yourself in a country which assumes a combative posture against the U.S., don't commit crimes. Or don't go to begin with. She broke the law. She gets what she deserves. Just because she's an athlete doesn't give her any reason to get special treatment. If she wanted to be in the USA with her wife and family, she should have followed the laws. Disappointed and deeply concerned that Russia appears ready to continue unjustly detaining Brittney Griner. She should be released and returned to her family immediately. Brittney Griner will now live rent-free in a country that hates America as much as she does. That is one of the most disgusting things anyone can say. How do you know she hates America? You are a United States congressman. She is a United States citizen trapped by rogue regimen. And you are celebrating her entrapment by said rogue regime. It's always telling when someone takes joy in the suffering of others. Very Christian of you. Always telling when people try to defend others who broke the law and do it from afar. Do you take as much joy in her suffering as the congressman does? Yes. First Amendment. I agree with the First Amendment, but people need to realize how great they have it. Don't break laws in other countries. She is realizing how great she had it. Well, luckily for you, her life has been completely ruined, so you could tweet this. She ruined her own life. How is that anyone else's problem? She's been going to Russia for almost a decade. She knew the laws. No one forced her to smuggle shit into Russia. How about some compassion instead of being heartless? Disappointed and deeply concerned that Russia appears ready to continue unjustly detaining Brittney Griner. She should be released and returned to her family immediately. I don't think so. Thumb your nose at a country's laws. Pay the consequences. He will be just fine in the Russian Huskow, rather than fraudulently taking up a girl's position on a ladies' sports team any longer. This entire story is so bizarre. This chick brought, which are illegal in Russia, into Russia, got caught with the got locked up because she broke their laws, and now are supposed to trade a convicted Russian arms dealer for her. If we do that, how does it not just create a situation where Americans are regularly killed by questionable governments around the world and traded for convicted criminals that we have detained? This is completely ignoring the fact that there is a line, and she just entered the very back of it since she just got sentenced today. Trading for anyone at this point would be an enormous slap in the face to everyone who's already been locked up awaiting for the U.S. to get them out of there for years. In the post on the news sub, towards the top, was someone whose dad was locked up for prescribed CBD for his cancer, for which he does have a valid prescription, but that does not exist beyond U.S. borders. He was given a similar sentence, and the U.S. is ignoring them as far as trying to get him out of there, even as he's dying without his cancer meds. But let's get the overpaid sports athlete who hates America and talks shit about her country and countrymen. How many Americans are currently in foreign prisons for breaking laws in those countries? How many foreigners are currently serving sentences in American prisons for breaking our laws? Why does Griner think she deserves special privileges compared to the aforementioned convicts? Why? Why does our president and VP think she deserves special attention when there are many others in her shoes? Why is our media ignoring all other convicts in foreign prisons, but working so hard to convince us that we need to gaffe about her? Because I don't gaffe about her and never will. The elitism is nauseating. We all deserve justice, no matter the hypocrisy of those with the power to serve it. It's simple. When foreigners visit our country and break our laws, they get tried, convicted, and serve their sentence. When Americans visit foreign countries and break their laws, they get tried, convicted, and serve their sentence. Justice was served in this case. She broke the law in Russia, and now she must serve her sentence. It is ignorant and elitist to think that just because you're American, you don't have to suffer the consequences when you break the laws in foreign countries. I didn't mean to is not an excuse. It's fascinating the amount of people saying and believing that her incarceration and now prison sentence is somehow illegal or political. I've flown to a good deal of countries, and within 30 minutes of touchdown onto foreign soil, everyone on board is handed announcements officially stamped by host countries saying, not in lawyer speak either, that individuals bringing in or smuggling illegal will be prosecuted, imprisoned for 20 years, and could even result in a death penalty. People seem to forget on a routine basis that our countries do not follow our laws, nor are they required to. As a U.S. citizen, your rights end as soon as the aircraft touch down on foreign soil, and you are now compelled to abide by the host country's laws and regulations. You people whining for her release need to grow the fuck up. She's not special. She's not innocent. Doesn't matter if she forgot to remove the oil. In Russia and many other countries, the harmless oil is illegal. And since the offense happened in a foreign country, she is now bound by that country's laws and punishments, like it or not. America doesn't even have legal marijuana. So why are they defending her for smuggling it into Russia? It would be a crime in the USA, too. Yeah, exactly. If I went through Atlanta International and TSA found weed oil vapes, they wouldn't just confiscate it and say, you silly goose, don't do that again. Be on your way. My ass would be detained and arrested. I don't know why this woman thought it would be a good idea to bring illegal substances through an airport in a country that is not getting along great with her home country. To me, it's a stupid games, stupid prizes scenario. Of course, Russia is going to be D-bags and make it worse than it needs to be, because that's what they do. But damn, why did she think she would get away with that? What if it was just an honest mistake? Ultimately, when you enter into another country, you promise to follow their laws. They might be lenient with mistakes, especially if you're from an allied nation or have business influences. But there is no promise made there. Many Americans get arrested in Japan for drug laws as well. Or how every once in a while there is legal trouble in Germany for American tourists who try the Nazi salute. If she had done this in Singapore, there's a high likelihood she would be facing the death penalty. Anyone who travels should be required to watch a season of Locked Up Abroad before they go on their next trip. Breonna Turner, this is one of her teammates. I don't have the capacity to respond to every hateful message about Brittney Griner. I think it's easy to be an outsider and wish the worst. It's easy to know all the facts. It's easy to spread hate on social media. I know many Americans lack compassion due to all the chaos. That happens regularly in our country. BG is my friend and teammate and one of the kindest people I know. Even before being detained in Russia, she would receive hate from trolls because they didn't like her looks or what she supported. Yet she continuously held her head high. I don't care to speak negatively about BG. Just disagree with trading BG for a convicted arms dealer. Too high of a price. His crimes are much more serious. His crimes cost lives. Sorry, BG, but you should have used better judgment. With all that being said, do I think that she was wrong for bringing it into Russia, knowing that it was illegal? Yes, I do. Absolutely, 100%. When you're going to another country, you need to respect their laws and their rules. Absolutely. I also think 9 years is a little harsh. I do. But Let me know what you guys think down below. If you're still here, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you so very much. Leave me a like and a comment, please. Please subscribe if you haven't. Please share this. It would mean so much to me. And until next time, be safe out there, and I love you guys.